You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right, hello Night Nation and Orlando. This is Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley, and we are talking UCF sports, obviously. Knightline at Night. It's a kind of a UCF Nights thing. All right, so we are live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. But we're taking your calls if you want to call us, 844-580-9326, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326. Or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Also got Big Ben Stout here with me, and he is at BigSocial32 on Twitter. And then Roger Phipps is with us as well, at Night Bengal. And he's coming to you from the Santa Rosa Beach studios. You can find all the rest of our content as far as podcasts and stuff like that at nightlinesports.com. We're going to start off, I guess, by talking about that there's not very many sports going on right now at UCF. With the coronavirus stuff happening around, we've had a bunch of basketball games canceled. I don't know about a bunch, but at least 2 postponed or canceled. And the next action you're going to see from your UCF Knights is on Thursday on ESPN Plus, this Thursday at noon, which is really weird. Noon on a Thursday during the week, not a holiday week. Very weird for that. UCF against Temple. In basketball.
Yeah, this will be our second stretch this season where we have about, nearly 2 weeks in between games. Last time we did that, had a couple of games postponed, and we wound up playing Florida State and playing really well. But certainly going at Temple, and it's very strange that it's at noon on Thursday. That game was originally supposed to be played on Wednesday night, maybe with our troubles and, quite frankly, potentially Temple's issues. They've certainly had a lot of issues with COVID off and on this year. They decided to kick that to the following or early afternoon, I guess you could call it, and hopefully that game gets played. It feels like I'm a lot more confident that games get played this week. Temple is a team that has only played 4 games this year, I believe. They got a 1-3 record. They played they're 0-3 in conference, but they've played Houston and SMU. Houston once, SMU twice, so they've played the top teams in our conference. Hasn't really performed well, but we should be able to match up pretty well with them, and hopefully we can get back on track with a victory.
Yeah. So COVID issues on both sides. Basketball has really been bitten by this so far this year. Football, we got through it and got to play all of our games. We were one of the few, I think, that got to play all of our games, but we did. It's interesting how basketball it's not happening.
Well, I think it's the nature of the sport and the differences of the sport. I mean, you're playing multiple games a week, and B, you have less active players to choose from, essentially. Obviously you have less players on the court, but I don't know what the exact threshold is as far as active players that they'll allow to play the game. But I mean, when you've only got at the very most, 13, 14 players on the roster.
That's true. I guess.
You know.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Roger, what's going on with you, my friend?
Well, I can tell you this. While I'm watching or missing UCF men's basketball, I have been watching a little bit of UCF women's basketball, and the team has been flourishing. So they were 5-1 going into the game against Temple. To Ben's point, I do think the major point with basketball is just there's so few players that are on the team that if anybody goes out, and it spreads to a few people. That's a challenge. On top of that, from what I understand, some of the coaching staff was also involved. So not only do you have players out, you have coaching staff out, and at some point it just makes sense not to travel as much as it is terrible for us, because I was looking forward to our men's basketball team. They seem to be doing really well and coming together, and it's a good look for the future. But it's really tough when we keep losing these games, and I think unfortunately it's going to be something we deal with on a longer term. The NBA was the same way versus the NFL. Obviously, a lot fewer games there, but a lot less people.
Yeah, absolutely. I was pulling up the women's nights. I don't know if they're lady nights. I don't even know what we call them.
The women's basketball team.
The women's basketball team.
A lot of them are lady nights or whatever. I don't know. They don't call them that, I guess. But
one thing I do know about the women's team, and you're right, Roger, they have had a good start to the season. They have had a couple delays from COVID, but they're 5-2 at the moment. Just had their first loss in conference. But one of the things that is really interesting about this team, and we talk a lot about it when it comes to the men's side with Johnny Dawkins and how great his team is defensively. This is a top 10 defensive team in the country right now. They're allowing like under 50 points a game or around 50 points a game. I think they're like number 6 nationally in scoring defense. So they're a really impressive team that Sydney Ball Malone has going on, or excuse me, Coach Abe has going on there.
Softball too.
Yeah, softball is also a very good team. They're preseason number one in the conference.
Number one.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was just reading about their preseason ranking, and that's why I confused it too.
It happens. It's all good.
I will say this about the women's defense is their press is very, very formidable. If you want to watch a well-run press, you watch the women's basketball team, because they are absolutely blanketing everybody with that.
Yeah, they can shut some teams down. They're not great offensively. They need to pick that up, but they're certainly locking down on D.
All right. Well, their next action is actually tomorrow night, 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus as well. You can catch that against the East Carolina Pirates. Would those be the Lady Pirates? I don't know. Anyway. Another thing that's interesting that's going on right now. Obviously, we like to call this national championship game in football that happened last night. We like to call that the Invitational.
Invitational, that's right.
Because it seems like it's a Power 5 quote unquote invitational, basically. And it's Stuart Mandel or ESPN was saying, Stuart Mandel's obviously not with ESPN, but he says on Twitter that ESPN reported last night's national championship game drew 18.7 million viewers, and that is very, very low compared to even the previous low in the BCS or the CFP eras. The lowest one was 21.4 million, so 18.7 million, pretty bad. The lowest one before was USC against Oklahoma in 2014.
2004.
2004, I'm sorry, 2004. So even farther back. So definitely BCS. Wow. I mean, I guess people weren't excited about the matchup. I wanted to see what Ohio State would do against Alabama. They didn't do very well.
No, they didn't. Well, they played so great about the week before against Clemson, and they kind of surprised a lot of people in that game. But I think going back to the point on the ratings, when you have the same 3 teams at least, 3+1 team in every single year for a very long time, it's been I don't know how many years, you just lose the casual fan. And when it's a big game like the national championship game, the Final Four, the Super Bowl, of course. I mean, you want to capture that casual fan to make the most money, and quite frankly, when it's such a self-fulfilling prophecy, the way this invitational has been over the last however many years, you don't capture that casual fan.
I saw the last 3 minutes of the game because I completely forgot about it until I got an alert on my phone that somebody had gone out of the game, and well, wait a second, oh man, I forgot, and I turned it on and it was 3 minutes to go, so nothing was happening in that. So it sounds like a lot of people forgot that it was on and forgot to turn it on.
I didn't forget. I just chose not to watch. I mean, one, I don't think Ohio State should have been in it based on the fact that they only played, 7-8 games? And then on top of that, I just don't care to watch the same 4 teams play every year. I mean, it's boring. You're cutting out 90% of your fan bases out there, and I'm sorry. It's just a waste of time to watch the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, well, it would help if they went just like the rest of college football does, not the FBS, but the FCS and the lower divisions, and made an actual tournament. And we've said this. I've said this until I'm blue in the face, literally. It's very simple. They do it in all those other divisions except FBS. And it works perfectly fine. There's lots of parity. There's new teams in there all the time.
And what's interesting about this season with all the craziness that happened with COVID is like it busted a lot of myths that were prior to this season. Like, oh, we've got to schedule games like 8 years in advance.
Yeah.
No. We could schedule games within a week this season.
Right.
Like there's a lot of things that we myth bust, but we haven't got out of that one yet.
Yeah. So let's hope that they do that one of these days. I'm not going to hold my breath, or I'll really be blue because of that. So lots of things going on in the sport of football, though, because that's really what we all think about. I mean, at least I do. I think about football much more than I think about any of the rest of them. You may think about basketball a little bit more, Ben. Because,
well, just as much as football, I'd say.
I think about football pretty much the entire time, and I watch what's going on. And we'll get into this a little bit later as well, but the transfer portal is really heating up with players being able to transfer this season and pretty much be able to go wherever they want to go and have immediate eligibility. So it's getting very interesting. It's getting interesting for UCF and a lot of other teams. There's a team to our north that is benefiting from that quite a bit. FSU, obviously, with Mackenzie Milton and a couple other of our players, at least one other one. We'll see if there's more. So, that's, it gets more and more interesting by the day. Lots of player movement, obviously, because everybody can transfer if they want to. Every player can transfer once in their career, in their eligibility, so with immediate eligibility. So it's getting very interesting. A lot of players on different teams, and we're going to, at some point, have to figure out where everybody's at. If you want to, follow players that you're from your hometown or whatever, it's going to be hard to keep track of these guys.
Right.
So it will be quite interesting. All right, we're going to take a break, and we will be right back on Knightline at Night.
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chad Barr Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chad Barr Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're brought to you by Chad Barr Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs. We're from the Dever Team Studios here. We're taking your calls, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. I got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter as well. We're talking UCF sports. We talked a little bit about basketball. Basketball coming up. Hopefully, this game does not get pushed back any farther or canceled, postponed, I think is the word that they're using now. But Thursday noon, I know, it's weird. Thursday noon on ESPN Plus. I don't know when they started, doing this on weekdays at noon, but if you got to get it in, you got to get it in, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
it's season.
Yeah, UCF Knights against the Temple Owls. And then we were talking a little bit about the women's basketball as well, and they are actually playing tomorrow, Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus against the East Carolina Pirates. And then at the end, before we took our last break, we started talking about the football transfer portal and all the movement that's going on in there. I'll go through the UCF stuff, obviously. First, Mackenzie Milton to Florida State, which we all kind of knew towards the end of the season that this was probably going to happen. We didn't know where. There was a lot of speculation. Florida State it is. And good for Mackenzie. Darryl Mack, also quarterback, was the backup to Mackenzie Milton in the 2019 season. When Mackenzie got hurt, Darryl Mack came in, won the American Conference Championship game for us. He's going to Old Dominion University in Virginia. He's from that area, so he's going home, kind of a homecoming thing from him. New people that are in this last week or so, Josias Cradle. We were very excited about him. I was extremely excited about him coming into the season for football this year as a 6'4", 195-pound wide receiver as a freshman. Stretch Cradle. Yeah. I'm not surprised by this, but I am. It sounds like, from what I understand, that some bad advice probably was given to this kid, and he's being pushed probably by his family or something like that. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know if he's not happy as well, maybe about not getting enough playing time, but he was a freshman this year. We had some pretty good receivers, and we didn't really need him that much.
We had more than a pretty good, we had really good receivers. Right. And the thing is, he got some playing time. I mean, he was on the field for almost every game, I believe, and he even started one of them. I mean, unfortunately, though, he's behind a couple of superstars this year, and it's unfortunate.
If he would have waited,
yes,
till this year, this could have been a great opportunity for him. So,
number 1 and number 6 receivers in the country until Marlon sat out. So just let that sink in.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple other people moving along as well. Randy Charlton, one of the guys that got kicked off the team with the gun issue and yelling at the officers, yelling profanities and everything at the UCF officers that pulled over Antoine Collier in his car, with a gun and no driver's license. Randy Charlton going to Mississippi State, supposedly. And Kenny Turnier, another guy involved in that, going to TCU. Interesting that these guys are moving up even with the issues. Antoine Collier, though, nobody has, I don't see anything on there for him. And Eric Mitchell, the other guy that had a gun, even though he had a legal gun, but still had a gun on campus, was also kicked off the team. I don't see anything moving for him as well. So both of those guys, good football players. All those guys, good football players. But they just got into some stuff that they shouldn't. Another guy that was actually involved in that situation as well, and a guy that this one kind of surprised me. It surprised me and it didn't surprise me because he was involved in the situation as well and probably easily could have been kicked off the team as well. Brandon Moore. From right here, Seminole High School. But he is going with Mackenzie Milton to Florida State. Kind of interesting. So,
yeah, it's interesting because obviously the two of those guys not only connected because of the 2017 national championship team, but the significant knee injuries that they both occurred, and they've both been rehabbing over the last 2 years, and now they both go together to Florida State. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, they've been rehabbing together, so I can see that. All right, we're going to take another break here, and we will be right back on Knightline at Night.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
Welcome. This is a promo for the Take a Left at Albuquerque podcast, new to the Knightline Sports Network. You should listen to it. I say things like this.
We need to stop blaming Jerry because we would do the exact same thing if we owned the Dallas freaking Cowboys. Do you know how much fun it is to own the Dallas Cowboys?
My guests will say things sometimes like this.
It's the Lord of the Flies thing that happens when they don't understand that things are wrong, spoiler alert, until Piggy dies.
Lord of the Flies has been out for like 100 years. I don't even know.
Yeah. Sorry to everyone at home who I spoiled the book for. A book's been out for like 90 years or something.
And sometimes, rarely though, I'll say really stupid things like this. If they don't make it out of the West and the Raptors get to the finals, I will go on either this show or whoever's show and say that Kawhi Leonard is overrated because I have too much evidence of it. New episodes drop every Friday with me and some of my good friends right here on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night. I'm Andrew Phegley. We're brought to you by Chad Barr Law, raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036 for a free consultation, or visit chadbarlaw.com. Does all kinds of law, by the way, there. Not just personal injury stuff anymore. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. So if you need a lawyer, I'm telling you, I know this for a fact. If you need a lawyer, call Chad Barr. All right. You can also call my friend Travis Dever in New Smyrna Beach if you need something as far as real estate goes. New, used, or even some rental stuff he can take care of for you. 386-690-1636. If you want to call us for some crazy reason, 844-580-WDBO, 844-580-9326. You can call us, or you can even use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout here with me at Big Social 32 on Twitter. Roger Phipps as well at Night Bengal. You can find all the rest of our stuff on nightlinesports.com. Okay, so we've talked about so far, a little recap. Because we're
First half recap.
First half recap. We're into the second half. We've talked about men's basketball. We've talked about women's basketball. We've talked about football transfer portal stuff. We talked about the national championship invitational game. What else did we talk about? I get the stuff mixed up in the middle that we're talking about when the people can't hear us. So we were talking about all kinds of stuff in that as well. So I'm confused a little bit. A little bit of men's basketball stuff still to talk about. Men's basketball for UCF playing on Thursday afternoon, right afternoon, at noon actually, on ESPN Plus against the Temple Owls this week. And then, Ben, talk a little bit more about their upcoming schedule. Hopefully we're back on track and we're not going to be missing a bunch of games.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we get both games in this week, but it is interesting. We do have a game on Sunday as well it's at Houston. So obviously they're still a top 10 team in the country. They are playing fantastic still, and so we do have to go to Houston to play this Sunday, and that game is going to be on ESPNU at 2 p.m. So 2 p.m. So we can watch out for that. And then just another interesting schedule note. Last week during this show that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, we were supposed to be hosting Memphis in a basketball game, and of course that was postponed last week, and so the rescheduling of that game is rather interesting, and this is what other conferences are doing as well, but we actually have to make up that game at Memphis now, so we lost that home game, and we're going to have to play them back-to-back on February 1st at 8 p.m. That's a Monday night. We have to play at Memphis, and then we follow up 2 days after that on Wednesday, February 3rd, to play them again. So we have to play Memphis back-to-back, limiting the travel and also making up for, I believe they traveled here, and I think that's a little bit of a punishment, but it is a way that makes up that game in kind of a more sensical traveling way. So
it is kind of a weird deal, though, to play two away games at a singular opponent. Within 3 days.
We're seeing a lot of this
within 2 days, really.
We're seeing a lot of this in the NBA this year. They're doing kind of more series, but certainly seeing it in college basketball with UCF it makes it interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, still on the schedule. There's Temple obviously this week, and then as well Sunday Houston, like you said, still number 6 or 8, whichever poll you're looking at there. Houston is so. A big opportunity again to play against them. That would be a huge thing. And then versus SMU and ECU, and then Wichita State before those 2 Memphis games. So, Roger, did you have something there that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the other aspect that nobody's really talking about is the fact that every time this happens, it's costing us money. I mean, as it is, we had a reduced schedule for a home game schedule. That was kind of balanced out by the fact that the home game, the season ticket prices were the same. But now with these games, with us losing the in-conference games, season ticket holders are actually losing a little coin there. So it'll be interesting to see. In the past, they've refunded. I paid for the Oklahoma game and I believe the Auburn game that were supposed to be in the preseason. Both of those were refunded by UCF. So again, every time that this is happening, it's not just affecting our basketball team and their cohesion and all of that other stuff, but in a year that is already tough for for a variety of reasons, for costs and everything else, it's another kick, for us in the sense that we're losing revenue on this. Not only are we losing games, we're losing revenue.
Yeah, I mean, all of sports is losing revenue for sure. So, understandable. Yeah, they have to figure this out in some way or another, especially with people trying to afford tickets and stuff like that. So,
you do have to question, though, why did UCF allow both Tulane and Memphis to fly all the way out here and get here? On one hand, I'd heard that one team decided they didn't feel safe after they arrived and went home, but the other team did not and wanted to play, and we canceled. So it's is surprising to me that UCF would allow this to happen. And the one case that we didn't get a rescheduled home game was the Memphis one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how those situations worked out, but I mean, stuff like that happens sometimes, especially now. I mean, it's happened before, but I mean, it definitely is happening now. So
yeah, I think everybody's just they're moving on the fly here. I mean, this is such a weird time to try to put these games together, and I'll give credit to the athletes. They're trying their best to play these games, but it's just it hasn't worked out across the board yet.
Yeah. Okay. So also moving on to women's basketball, they are playing the East Carolina Pirates tomorrow night, 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus as well. They're doing quite well this year so far, only a couple losses and more wins than losses. So that's good. And Roger, you've been watching them. Tell us a little bit more about the women's basketball.
Well, for me, I mean, one of the things that's been really, really interesting is we had some players that we lost last year that were seniors, and we had Diamond Battles, who we were kind of watching last year to take over for KK. She's kind of come into her own, but there's a transfer from Syracuse. Her name escapes me at the moment, but she came in. She's playing really well at the shooting guard position. I think that defense has been absolutely taking as far as watching them. You know, usually you have this idea that when you're watching sports, that women's basketball, that you see some sort of drop off, but it's actually pretty exciting. The basketball, watching the actual technical basketball that they're playing and watching the defenses that Coach Abe is putting out there is just absolutely a joy to watch. So what I would suggest is they're winning with defense. They're winning with transition ball. They really push the tempo when they can. And I don't know how they're not wearing themselves out, because they're executing a press for 3/4 of the game at times. So watching them play that defense with that tenacity is a lot of fun. They're very talented. They're expected to go far. Early on, we were expecting them to, we were talking about them going to the tournament. So this is a potential tournament team with UConn out of the conference. That's been the big roadblock so far. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. And unfortunately, the Cows are the other team that's traditionally been really, really good in the conference. So I think that'll heat up our Warren I-4 rivalry, and just watching the ladies play, the tenacity, the speed, and the defense has just been a joy to watch this year.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that. We have our good friend Andrew from Oviedo on the line. Andrew wants to talk about a little bit of a controversial subject. So, Andrew, my friend, what's on your mind tonight? Thank you for calling, by the way.
Hey, good evening, guys. I just wanted to talk mainly about, you were mentioning about the transfer portal, but I was also kind of curious about that coaching portal. Noticed that we had players leave, some of them expected, some not. But, I mean, since I've been following the program, I think this is the most players I've ever seen opt to not return when I feel like they should have returned. I mean, we all know that Marlon was going to leave. We all understood Casey was going to leave. But I wasn't expecting Cradle to leave. I wasn't expecting Trey to leave. And I wasn't expecting Harris to leave. McCray and Otis, I kind of saw that coming. But that on top of our wide receivers coach deciding to leave, I'm kind of curious, or if you guys worried about our depth. Considering how much people have left and all the new blood coming in, I feel that there might be more than what we're seeing. And I was curious if you shared the same concerns going into the next season.
Okay. I do and I don't. First of all, with the coaches leaving, I think that when you're a part of what has been considered and generally has been a winning program, that you're going to get job offers other places. When your friends get job offers as head coaches or whatever, or people that you've worked with before, especially assistant coaches are always looking to make moves to make their situation better. I don't think that has anything to do with Heupel or anything like that. I think that they've been lucky to work in a program that is a good program, and they're just getting better offers. They're getting to do different things, maybe with a little bit more freedoms, maybe of calling plays or whatever else. We've seen 2 offensive coordinators or co-offensive coordinators go in the last couple of years, and that's because they're getting jobs where they're actually an offensive coordinator instead of here where they've got the title but they're not calling plays. That's the first thing. The second thing with the guys wanting to go to the NFL, that's dollar signs. Those guys want to make money as well. And it seems like this year being the weird year that it is, maybe those guys feel that they would have a better chance this year going to the NFL. With COVID issues and everything else, there may have to be some more players taken or some different players taken. So I personally don't think there's anything internal going on, which a lot of people speculate that there is. I just personally don't think that. I think that people like to make any controversy and drama that they can without actual knowledge of it. The actual knowledge that I have is there's none of that. There really is none. So, you can take that with a grain of salt if you want, but I don't know. Ben, real quickly, if you got anything.
I'll save it till after the break.
Okay.
I've got a few things on this.
Andrew, if you want to hang on until after this break, we got to go to a break here in 15 seconds. So if you want to hang on, we'll talk about it towards the very end here when we get back from the break. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night. Hey, Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain, or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night, brought to you by Chad Bar Law. We kept Andrew from Oviedo on the line, I believe, through the break, because he wanted to talk a little bit about players leaving, coaches leaving around the program of UCF. Andrew, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm going to let Ben start off from where I left off, I guess. He wanted to say some stuff as well. So, Ben, go ahead.
All right. I got 3 things to say, and I'm going to try to make all 3 really quick. First off, coaches. 28 from the 2018 season and the 2019 season, UCF kept their entire coaching staff intact. That right there is extremely rare in college football. That hardly ever happens. What's happened over the last 2 off seasons, start of the second off season now, is more common in college football. That, as you said, assistant coaches get new jobs other places. They get more money, a better promotion, etc. That's life. That's what happens in college football. I'm sure we're going to get some quality coaches back in. As far as the players go, we already talked about Stretch Cradle. It's a little bit disappointing that he's leaving, but Trey Nixon, Jacob Harris, a few others that were mentioned. I mean, obviously
Otis Anderson.
I mean, these are all seniors. I mean,
Greg
granted,
McCray.
yes, they can come back. they can come back because it's a free year with COVID year, but they're seniors. A lot of these guys have been in the program for 5 years or been playing in college five plus years. They want to move on with their lives, whether it's the NFL or not. Whether they get that chance or not, they want to take it now. I mean, this has been one of the most difficult seasons from a player standpoint in college football history. And they want to move on from it and see what they can do at the next level or at the next level in life, professional career, regardless of the outside of football. And the third thing I'll say really quickly is we do have some players that actually did decide to come back. Noah Hancock, Josh McMullen, Jake Hescock, and Marcus Tatum. Those two guys, McMullen and Tatum, that basically keeps our offensive line intact fully for another year. And then also we got some guys that opted out, like Kalia Davis coming back next year. I think we're set.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some concern with some depth. I'm most worried about the defensive backfield because really the biggest loss of all of this for me personally is Richie Grant. That is the biggest loss, and I believe that he will be probably picked pretty high. It sounds like from a couple things that I've heard in the NFL draft. So, he was eligible to come back if he wanted to as well, being a senior and having that extra year of eligibility, because this didn't count. But this was just a really weird year, and it's the beginning, like we were saying, of that college football free agency, is what I like to call it, where everybody has, the ability to transfer and everything else. It's a weird year. So guys that you may have thought weren't going to go away, went away. I mean, who ever thought that Mackenzie Milton would transfer to Florida State? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a weird year. I mean, we're going to see a lot more of players coming and going in the next, couple of years. This is a really big thing that's going to be just a new part of college football. So not only are you going to turn players over every 4 years, but they're going to be turning over constantly. So coaches and recruiters are really going to have to do something different, especially with this transfer portal. And I think that if those coaches that can use it properly are really, really going to, do well with it. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry that we kind of, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that people are trying to create some drama that's just not there. From what I understand, it's really not there. Maybe with Randy Shannon, there's some I think a lot of people wanted to see him move on, but that's not happening. All right. Thank you for your call, Andrew. Thank you all for listening. We will be back next week on Knightline at Night. Chase, thank you in the studio, by the way, as well.